What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB First Look. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And today we have an 8-game slate. Trying to build for me off of yesterday's slate. I did well in the early, did awful in the late. You know. Nailed the pitching, I felt like. Kershaw, Archer, and Dylan Peters were my three pitchers. And that wasn't the problem. The problem, of course, was I wasn't on the Dodgers just because I thought the Braves and Mets game would be really long, and I tried to attack that, and both of the pitchers there kind of balled out. And the Braves, even the runs they put up was all small ball. So looking to build off yesterday, I had like a really solid 3-4 days, 3-4 slates in a row, and then last night kind of sucked. So definitely looking to build. We don't have cores on this slate, which is pretty sick. We do got some expensive bats. We have teams like the Astros, the Yankees, and then the Twins. So we'll have to probably do some risk taking with the pitching unless some particular value opens up. But starting off with cash games, as we always do, I think Darvish makes a lot of sense as an SP1. He's been fairly consistent. Providing somewhat of a decent floor. Looks like about 13 as his floor, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. He's been consistently putting up 20s. The strikeouts have been there, and that's really the most important thing. Philadelphia has been striking out, so I think Darvish does make sense as an SP1 in cash games. As far as SP2s, I would love to get into some of these cheap guys, but I really don't see one that I would feel too comfortable with in cash due to either opponent, park, the pitcher they are, anything like that. So I do think that I'd probably go to Sonny Gray. As of right now, we'll see if anything changes tomorrow. We'll see if any of these pitchers get scratched, anything like that. But Darvish and Gray seems to be feasible, considering they are both under 10K. Again, you're going to need some value to make this work, but I think punting at like catcher, maybe second base, and maybe an outfielder could be beneficial in your cash games to allow you to grab some of the stud bats. But just kind of going through this list, there are some guys that I don't mind taking a chance on in tournaments, just really none that I feel good about in GPP. I'm sorry, in cash. So I think Darvish and Gray, I'd probably just do a double spend up here. And I kind of expect most of the industry to do that. Maybe some people, I think the lowest people will really go as far as like popular options, and maybe like Alex Young, who I can't stand. But Darvish and Gray seems like the cash game combo. To me, from a tournament perspective, I still like those guys, especially Sonny Gray, who's just been awesome. I think like the cheaper guys I could take a look at. Reynaldo Lopez, I know is not a guy that we normally consider to be a good pitcher, but he has been getting the job done. It's been a while, since July, where he's really, really like dudded hard. He's been fairly consistent against some weak opponents, but also against some decent ones. So the Angels have been striking out a ton. And we saw even against Chris Archer today, Archer strikeouts were not the issue. So the super high risk, I don't like the price, 7-9. Just kind of a name I'm throwing out there. Smiley's kind of interesting. I know, he's coming off a bad outing against the Giants. He was very, very chalky that day. But the Cubs can strike out against lefties, surprisingly. Like they've been striking out a little bit more this year in general. I don't think it's the worst idea, but again, these aren't things you would do in cash games, and that's why I do think majority of people will end up paying up for the Darvish Gray. I would imagine that combo is going to be very popular because all these guys I'm discussing are definitely like enough. Like these are guys that are going to make your stomach turn if you have them. And you're going to need some stones for really any of these cheaper guys. Michael Wacha against Cincinnati at 5,400. Maybe he gains some traction. It's very, very possible. He did start on the August 5th against the Dodgers. He threw 92 pitches, and that's promising. The Reds do strike out quite a bit. Galvis may lower that a little bit when he's in the lineup. The problem is Walker's been awful. He's just been terrible. You saw against the Dodgers, gave up 6 earned. He did have a good outing against Houston. And if he gave you that 14 at 5,400, you'd be cool with that. So, another guy that I think some people may toy around with the idea with. But again, it's kind of hard getting off that Darvish Gray type build. Heaney at 9K, I wouldn't mind against the White Sox, except he threw 74 pitches in his first start back from injury, so we don't really know what he's going to be allowed to throw. And 9K is kind of expensive, but I think he does have some strikeout upside. It could be interesting. The Teheran-Stroman matchup is also somewhat interesting. I don't think think I like Tehran. I just don't know. He is coming off a really good start. I'm just not sure about the upside. But he's another one that's been fairly consistent lately. Just kind of looking at his game logs. Although outside of Washington, he's had a fairly easy road with Miami, San Diego, Kansas City. So he's a maybe. Stroman, I would love to as a Met fan, but the Braves are just really, really tough to want to attack. Had a good outing against Washington for the most part. Did give up 4 earned, but he had 9 Ks, which in fantasy, that's really what we care about is the strikeouts. Just 8,400. The 16 still ain't cutting it in a tough matchup. So, again, I think the Darvish Gray is kind of hard to come off of, but there are guys you can consider. So, talking about some of the stacks, the Yankees certainly stand out as one of the top options. They've been red hot, and this Plutko dude he has regression coming out the ass. Just a disaster. Gave up 2 homers against Minnesota. It wasn't enough. He should have gotten. This guy has extremely high fly ball rates and extremely high hard contact rates, particularly to right-handed hitters. Now you're going to put him in Yankee Stadium, a much, much smaller park than he's played in. He's played in Minnesota, had home in Cleveland and Kansas City twice, and Detroit. You can see against Baltimore, he didn't give up a ton of home runs. That is Baltimore, but he did give up 5 earned. So I think this small park, I don't think it's going to play well for him. I think the Yankees are definitely a top option, especially with the way they've been swinging the bats. The issue in tournaments, of course, is the Yankee pricing. They're going to be tough to kind of stack all together. There's guys you can go to, get some cheap exposure to them, but if you want some of their bigger studs like Glaber, Gio Urshela, LeMahieu, it's going to cost, and that's going to be difficult to do a Gray Sunny double spend up. So that's the situation that I can find myself in, forcing me to pay down at my SP2 position and choosing between Gray or Darvish, if I can even make that work. The next offense that I thought stood out to me the most was probably the Minnesota Twins. They're in Arlington against a rookie Payano, rookie righty. Terrible bullpen too, by the way, which is always a big plus. And you can see that against Milwaukee, only threw 70 pitches, hasn't thrown more than 88. So it just seems like a situation where, number one, this guy doesn't strike dudes out really, and number two, it seems like a situation where we could see the bullpen relatively early, especially once the Twins tattoo that ass. So it's in Arlington. We feel like we haven't had a game here in a while on a main slate, and the Twins, similar scenario to the Yankees, are very expensive. So similar situation. These are the top 2 offenses to me, and I'm sure the Vegas totals will reflect something similar, but they are very expensive. So again, if you are trying to do the Gray Darvish pairing, it's going to be difficult in tournaments. So we may have to try to dig one of these cheaper options tomorrow over at wisetech.com. So come rock with us and see what we land on. For the third offense, I could talk about Houston against Oakland. Oakland's bullpen has just been really, really bad. Pitching in general, but it is a really, really big park. I think I kind of would rather stick with Texas here against Smeltzer. Texas has been bad against lefties for the most part, but lately they've actually kind of turned it on against lefties. Over the last 30 days, their ISO's improved dramatically. Their strikeout rate is dramatically dropped. It's just, I don't mind Texas at all on the other side here. It's not as fun to stack Texas at the moment, but they are one of the cheaper stacks. So this is a team you could probably do the double spend up with and still get some exposure here. So you can see that the most expensive guys they have are like Danny Santana at 4,900. So it's not pretty, but you have like, when you are stacking the Rangers, you're looking at guys like Calhoun and Chu and Mazzara, and they're all in the mid 4s. Maybe won't be comfortable to pair these guys with the double spend up build for tournaments, but you can definitely get a lot further than you could with the Twins or the Yankees. But I do like the Twins and the Yankees significantly more than I do Minnesota. And that's going to do it for my quick little break dizzle on the first look. I'm going to be digging into this slate tomorrow, so make sure you come over to wisesec.com. Get yourself a day pass if you're not already a member. $2.50, all it costs to try the Wise Tech Nation content. You get access to all the content for the day. Only thing you won't get access to is the Slack chat. That's for monthly members or higher, which I highly recommend you check out after you get the day pass. See what it is, see what we do, see how we help you become a better DFS player. Also, real quick, guys, we have the NFL season pass up. You have until September 1st. Take advantage of this deal. Price will be going up after September 1st. It's the full NFL season. You can get it for $99.99. Full price is $149.99. You use promo code EarlyOwlNFL 2019. No spaces, Early Owl NFL 2019. And you will get the season pass for $99.99. So I definitely make sure you take advantage of that before September 1st. For sure. All right. Time for some top treesies here. It's not pretty, but we got to do what we do. So Darvish and Gray are my 1 and 2, right? Darvish, Gray. And I'm gonna need to pick a cheap dude at some point anyway. Right now, the GPP in me tells me to take a look at Smiley a little bit tomorrow. I know, but the strikeouts have been there, so I guess Smiley for now would be my third. I guess either him or Walker. Someone cheap though, because if I want Minnesota and the Yankees, they're gonna be expensive. Top 3 stacks. Number 1, I'm gonna say Minnesota. I do like the Yankees a ton, but I'd have to put Minnesota first because of Arlington. It's just been an awesome park. Plus the bullpen of Texas is just horrendous. Second will be these New York Yankees. I know they're expensive, but they're too hot, and I think Plutko's got plenty of regression coming, so I'm all about it. And then I'll go with the Rangers for the situations where you do want to try to get 2 maybe more pricey pitchers, at least pricey relative to the slate. I think the Rangers could be a nice little upside stack in a really good hitting environment that could help you do the dirty. Do thy dirty to thy neighbor, you know. Dong watch. Time to hit some homers, some dangers. Let's get some dangers. I'm going to go with Max Kepler from the Twins. We'll go with Sam. We will go with who do we want here? Let's go with Glaber. Do thy dirty to thy neighbor. You know how we do. And let's pick a Ranger. Let's go with Elvis Andrus 4,200. 4,200. That's how we do that. So put this on the screen. There we go. Glaber. Do thy dirty to thy neighbor. Elvis Andrus and Max Kepler. That's the Dong Watch for today. For me. Place. That's going to do it. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. That like button. Subscribe. Hit the notifications bell. Get notified whenever we put out content. Got a lot of DFS content coming. We got these rocking for baseball, but whole lot more coming with NFL around the corner. And then, of course, the very, very popular and awesome sport of NBA DFS. We'll make a return in a couple months. So make sure you get the notifications bell on. Don't miss nothing we put out. Plus, don't forget to check out on this channel the Wise Take Nation podcast. Make sure you check that out. We do the Wise Take Nation podcast. It's a more generalized podcast right now. It's been once a week on Sunday nights, but go check it out. We talk about all kinds of stuff related to sports, entertainment, really anything the fuck we want. That's why it's such an awesome show. So go check it out. Show some love. For myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yes.